All right, we're back. We're going to be meeting the first of the Native American inhabitants of this place, and this is the last of the missions in this particular zone. So next we'll be in Blue Mountain, which is the final zone of New England. So we haven't. We're gonna be seeing more weird stuff in Blue Mountain and learning a lot more about the actual history of the island. But for now, we just have this last little part here, and I step on a landmine.
That's what it means by carefully inspect the body. And you also need the collector. Or his minion, maybe.
Now, we are going... This is my second attempt recording this, so we did miss a story cutscene that does not repeat. But all that cutscene says is, hey, go here, talk to this lady.
You know, funny thing is, something that I really respect about this game, and I've been watching something to date this video. They just released the Phoenix Wright anime second season, I think, and a bunch of blooper reel for it. So looking into it, they have a lot of characters who show up and then don't get killed off immediately for like dramatic relevance. And it's because that's par for the course on a lot of like supernatural horror things or for stuff where there's supposed to be suspense. They'll introduce a sympathetic or interesting character sometimes and then kill them off really quickly just to make sure your blood's pumping. And I hate that as a storytelling device.
Oh, I hate that too.
I hate it to the point where I will stop reading or watching something if I'm not already committed to it. And if I am, it's gonna take me a while to build that trust back up. It is one of casual character death is one of my biggest pet peeves. And maybe I'm wrong, I don't think that ever happens in here. And I guess that's technically spoilers, but that's one of those things that's so broad. It's like, yes, you shoot zombies in this game. That doesn't really tell you anything about the plot. But
now you might be wondering, what the hell's with the cat and the bull? I have no idea. Because you can't actually use it. I think it's from a quest that was cut or something? I don't know.
Well. God, I should know.
Yeah, that decomposing left leg is part of Resurrection Joe, which is how you get the last of the zombie lore.
Oh, and I did some quick and dirty field translation. The Opterganger, I think it is, that we saw means traveler back, roughly. And looking at, because this is the most interesting thing I could ever do for this LP. It's just once I realized that these names are, actual words, I couldn't stop myself. And there was an ASK, an Oscar. I'm butchering that.
Yeah.
ASKR is ash, as in ash tree.
Oh.
And oh. I do like I know this is a MMO standard practice, but I do like the I do like thorough line quests that bind areas together.
Mm-hmm. There are occasions where you will get a quest that is in another zone. So, like, we get one here, and it's a quest I don't like, because you have to do it in things in a specific order, and you're not really given a very good map.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll go over that when we get to it. If you're wondering what Toba Bay is, that's the name of the bay we're in.
What did we just walk past?
Something that becomes relevant later.
Ah.
Quick access inventory updated.
Oh, hey, it's deep ones.
Yep. I think the next deep ones only show up here in Tokyo, I think.
Which is fitting, because like there are Romanian and Egyptian coastlines, but they don't come up in these games very much.
You're wondering why all this evil came visiting us out here in the middle of nowhere. It sure ain't the climate. There's a local legend, and like most local legends, it's probably true, about a war between good and evil that took place on this island 1,000 years ago. Our tribe fought invaders from the south who tried to awaken the darkness that sleeps below our mountains. We fought bravely, but they were many and powerful, and we were close to defeat
When strangers from across the sea came to our aid. I've heard this story a million times. Tall white gods bearing a magical sword. Why are the gods always white? And male? Kyra, what?
It's a valid question, and one you should definitely ask someone else some other time. The strangers brought a weapon, but they left us with powerful magic inscribed in stones. Your grandfather knew how this magic worked, but that knowledge died with him. Whatever the rest of the tribe knew, they did.
And here's where it starts to touch on Native American issues that are complex, and I'm not, like, learned on, so...
They're here, Mom. At least they're not all white. Or male.
I love that line because I am, in fact, a white
Yeah,
male in this game, and in and out of game, I am playing a white male. See, that's the map you get, and it says go to the first one, and it doesn't tell you which one's the first one. I don't like that one.
Your move, Uncle Red.
Soon enough. Did you protect your queen?
Maybe.
Yeah, if you're wondering what that misty filter is, I have no idea why it's there, what's going on.
Great move if you're trying to kill your queen. Look at the whole board this time. You don't have to fight every single battle. Consider the end game. Be the player, not the piece.
How can I consider the endgame when I don't know what you're going to do? I'd have to be psychic. Can I just surrender already?
Hi there, I'm Red, your uncle. If we'd met, you'd know I don't stand for quitters. You always have to play it out, kiddo, even when you're losing, else you'll never learn. Besides, you can't tell when the Joker's going to show up.
I thought we were playing chess.
Kiddo, when you get to be my age, you're allowed to mix metaphors. Sometimes you just have to stall, stay on the defensive, and wait for that unexpected move that changes the whole board.
Sure, I guess. Whatever that means. Scion horse to, F4?
Now you're cooking with gas, kiddo.
Just keep mixing those metaphors.
I think we've all had an uncle like Red.
I mean, many of us have. I've had a cool uncle, but I would not describe him as stupid or anything, but I wouldn't describe him as, like, wise. And no, I feel bad, because it's true, but there are way more diplomatic ways I could have put that. And that. Oh well. What was the lifespan, or, like, not the lifespan, the life cycle that this whole thing, that the person in the thread pointed out for the Draug?
Okay, so it starts with a zombie that wanders into the ocean, and then the witch makes them like a brood person, and then they turn into a pod, and then they hatch a Draugr.
Yeah, the witches, what are they called? I was gonna call them the Wiggle Witches, but that's the worst way I could have put it. The witches with that have all the tentacles coming out in front of them. It's just those are pretty grody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just waiting for my health to regen here.
I think these things even have a society underwater. That's not a terribly complex one. They just grow and grow until you get those big octopus head things that we've seen a couple times, usually with a lord at the end of the name.
Yeah, but remember what the lore says. These aren't actually Draugr from myths.
Oh
These
yeah, no,
are...
that I'm speaking these specific Draugr, as in not the mythological ones.
Right, because according to the lore, these are actually just the filth taking the form of Draugr, because that's what was in people's minds.
I remember I actually read something up about this. Even though it's, these are the actual, like, dead Norse the bodies of the dead Norsemen, having been infested by the filth and then having just stuck around underwater, kind of maintaining a sort of society for a while. They've always been filth agents. They've never changed, but they have never dissolved into nothing and then reemerged just because it was like a traditional form. They stuck around. I think that's like maybe I read this in the thread, maybe I read this on some lore page. This may be completely unfamiliar to you.
It is, because I don't remember that bit. I remember the reason that they're Draugr is because that's just the filth taking that form.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what was in the Norsemen's minds.
Yeah, that's what they were afraid
And
of.
that's part of the history of this place, even if, I mean, I'm relatively certain none of the people here are Norsemen.
Yeah, exactly.
It's part of the psychohistory of this place. Yeah, now we're just doing weird shit. I think we're doing this to piss off the Draug, but the Draug don't really have emotions. Or do they? Like, are they... I don't know, it's weird.
don't know. Maybe you're
They
just.
were not shy about putting titties on things.
Yeah, that's a lot of. That's a lot of excess nipple. You don't really need. Well, maybe not. I don't know. You don't need that much, at least.
Congratulations, authority.
Well done. I'm sure this will rack another one up for the medal collection. The organization has a soft spot for decorating war heroes like militarized Christmas trees.
He implied you have better things to be doing with your time. It's just unsaid.
Yeah, and then we stake this one and summon a Draugr Lord, and then the quest is over. It's a weird quest.
It's just like walking right past that guy, not making eye contact. Just
Yeah.
You know, kiddo, the thing about fishing,
Oh, good, a metaphor. You might want to.
You'll notice that she's playing on like a Switch or something, but it says Ansazi.
new tricks.
Ansazi is an in-universe company that is part of the Orochi group, which we'll see more of later.
And the right rod.
I thought the thing about fishing was patience. That's what you said last time.
Well, patience ain't pertinent to this particular metaphor, kiddo. We're not fishing for trout. We're fishing for shark. Shark that's likely to slither through the front door any minute.
Could you please just stop with the metaphors and tell us what the bait is in the story already?
Who? Not what. Your mother.
My mother? Mom's bait?
Like shark to blood, bad things are coming for her. It's instinct. They're drawn to her because of who she is and what she can do. They sense how important she is, and they want her gone.
This is about Grandpa again, isn't it? It's always about Grandpa.
It's not about him as much as what he left behind. My brother passed his gift on to Ami, and she'll pass it on to you.
Great. Mom's bait and we're stuck like lobsters in a trap. My head's hurting from all the metaphors. I need my life to be simple again. So, who's the fishing rod in this story?
Isn't that obvious?
Yeah, I just remembered I had to give him back his tackle box. Yeah, they're a co-op here, but they don't actually attack the store. Presumably because they have some sort of ward up, which is why we did that ward quest. And this quest gets a little interesting because of what we find near the end part of it. So a lot of you have been wondering, shouldn't someone be doing something about this? Not like just the secret societies, like Orochi's here. They were at the bridge. But some of you have been wondering, where's the government? Well, we're about to find out.
Yeah, you know, I saw this like I was like, wait, did we go back to Kingsmouth now? Because we're just in another Akab area, but no, there's just more of them.
Yeah, Ami is just chilling here. And there we go, dead soldier.
Dreams of pale tentacles and tattered wings.
Yeah, so all we find here are dead soldiers.
And she's coming along with
Which
her.
really, again, points out, as we've been saying in the thread, if you're a bee, you are insanely powerful.
And even so, as a lot of the stuff that we're facing is giving us a run for our money. Not everything, but some of the more powerful bosses. And these are just normal dudes with they have very nice guns, but you know.
Yeah, we'll meet the official military representative in the next area. There's even someone from FEMA.
Yes, there is. Yeah, there's someone from the CDC, and wow.
Yeah, Ami occasionally says stuff, but it's not really subtitled unless you're right next to her. So
And it's not really important as far as I can tell. So it's just, you know, I did spot one where she was making commentary about how people describe caves like this as dank, and I didn't see the follow-up line. I know that's what dank is supposed to describe, but I've never seen it used like the way it's actually supposed to be used. Just
I've only ever seen dank used in reference to marijuana.
yeah, and in reference to memes from time to time.
Yes.
Have you ever played Betrayal at House on the Hill?
No.
It's a famous board game that's basically, I won't go too much into it, but it's a randomizable horror game where there's different scenarios that you can figure the rules around every time you start a new game. And one of the cards that come up in it describes the circumstances under which, I think it describes a library as dank. And I remember pulling it with a bunch of my friends in college, and it just...
Wait, the Arkham Horror game?
No, this is a different game.
Oh, then no. I've played the Arkham Horror game.
I played the Arkham Horror app. Just apparently just the Arkham Horror's hard. Yeah, it's collaborative, and you'll still lose.
Oh yeah, Arkham Horror very much gets through that the mythos is not to be trifled with.
It is entirely. It is. I mean, like at the end of the day, usually in like mythos stories, humans win, even if they like end up traumatized or dead for it. But and it's entirely possible to win that game, and even have everyone come out alive and sane. But it's just unlikely. Come to think of it, I don't usually. Usually those games end with like a fail state instead of characters dying. So I don't know. Those are both good games. Betrayal at House on the Hill is out of copyright or something. I don't know exactly what's going on with it, but because there's like a flat-out black market for it. People will buy used copies and download the rules and try and remake it. But Arkham Horror is still around, and you can still get the app for your phone.
And now we just have one more quest, and then it's on to the Blue Mountain. And this one is kind of annoying. It's go gather some mushrooms and then combine them in the right order. The title is a pun, Breakfast of Champignon, when champignon is, I believe, a type of mushroom.
That's
Kyra,
What? Can't hear you, Mom.
dishes.
Not yet. What's the hurry? It's not like we're having visitors ever.
she
again.
says,
Hi.
looking straight past you.
Visitors, cool. So, are you staying for dinner? There's rice and stale bread and the beef jerky my uncle made back in the 90s. He's never been able to sell it. Can't imagine why.
Kyra. I have to apologize for my daughter, but it's not an easy situation for any of us. We're all going a bit crazy in here. I always thought that if we protected the land, if we played our part and did our duty, the land would protect us. So either that was all bullshit, or we haven't held up our side of the bargain.
Yeah, if we could all just get along like a proper family instead of bickering about who said what to whom like 40 years ago, then maybe we wouldn't be stuck here with nothing to eat except canned meat and peas.
That's the price we pay for disunity and discord. But the land is strong and will fight back. Given a chance, we just need to harness that strength.
So what are you waiting for, Mom? Go out there and, like, harness. Beat sitting here eating baked beans. Oh yeah, there's also baked beans. For breakfast, lunch, dinner, and midnight snack. It's surprisingly awful.
It's not as simple as that, Kyra. I wish it were, but we're alone. I can't do this on my own. We need help. In the meantime, we have to care about the little things, like the chores. So will you please do the dishes?
Fine. Fine. If the monsters eat us, at least they'll be using clean plates.
And now it's time to collect a bunch of mushrooms.
And we were just talking about drugs, so right on theme.
Of course, all the mushrooms are also in a zombie-infested area, so...
You know, it is an MMO. And they have the most, and yeah, they have, of course, the most like generic evil mushroom names ever. This is gonna sound completely off the wall, but stick with me. Do you know any biologists?
Not personally.
Yeah, I do. And the funny thing about biologists is that I don't know what it is, but for people who I'll speak to them, or the people who know them, biologists are nuts. Biologists are let me put it this way. My best friend in high school, he was volunteering at a major museum. Lucky enough to get. There was like a whole thing there. Anyway, he's volunteering in their ornithology department, and they were gathering bird samples. And in our high school, we had a big glass screen that was in the courtyard that birds couldn't see when they were flying around at high speeds. So they would, like a few every day, would ram into this glass door, break their necks, and die, and just lie around until the janitor came to clean them up. So one day, he saw what was apparently a specimen of some rare species. So he went over, he picked the bird up, and he put it right into his backpack next to his books. And just walked to the bus to go home. Like this is the thing that people do. And I remember we asked him about it, and he just told us this all matter of fact. And I talked about his sister was also walking to the bus at the same time. I called out to her and I said, "Did you know that your brother has a dead bird in his backpack?" And she just stopped, sighed, and kept walking. She did not even look over. It did not even register as worth putting any more effort into it. And he's now earning his PhD in evolutionary biology. And I hear similar stories about people who will, like, mycologists or study fungi, who will make really casual conversation about how fungi will eat you while you're dead, and be very enthusiastic about discussing the actual process of the breakdown of the human corpse, and the role that fungi plays in that process. It's...
Nerds.
I mean, yeah, well, morbid nerds. It's... Yeah. I mean, they also talk about... I've never met people more interested in talking about well, they're the people who are least likely to do drugs and most likely to know what they do to you, just out of curiosity. And plenty of them do drugs, though. I think either he was a biology major or a psych major, somebody who was up for 3 days straight on shrooms in college. And he wrote a paper on it while he was on it, and he didn't fail the class. I knew some weird people in college.
Who amongst us has not written a paper while sleep deprived?
Well, I mean, I haven't written a paper on mushrooms.
Oh, I haven't either, but...
I mean, I did once... I had a chance to experiment with the marijuanas in college back when it wasn't completely legal yet. But don't tell the police because they care. But I'm actually not going to get into that joke. So, but I did once. Twice I've tried edibles, and once I had quite a bit of them, and realized I had a paper due the next day. And I had to walk all the way to the computer lab, sit down, and write out a whole 2-page paper while high on edibles. And I got a B+, I think. I don't really remember the grade. I remember it clearly. It didn't interfere with my memory or anything. It's just it was pretty uncomfortable. The body highs don't do anything for me.
At least you didn't do that, this edible ain't shit, and then...
Yeah, that's one of those.
Ego death.
Yeah. Closest I ever did. I had one chance to take a hit from a bong, and I did, and I lost the ability to form sentences. and the experience was so terrible. I just sat there trying for a
See,
couple
now
seconds.
I'm the opposite. I have hit a bong or a blunt plenty of times, and it's done nothing to me.
I don't know. I think it registers different, and this is actually something that happens for people who are on the spectrum who I've talked to about this. I think weed hits us a little different than it hits people who aren't. Like, I don't usually feel it until I do, and I only feel it in specific ways. Like, when after I lost the ability to form sentences, I could clearly remember the whole thing, and I was so distressed that I stood up and I walked home safely. I didn't take any risks or do anything stupid on the way home, and just played video games on my computer until I was done, until it had worn off. There were parts of my psyche it affected and parts that it did not. That don't seem to have lined up with what other people say. Most other people say it works for. I don't know.
My dad's 62, and he's never really been a smoker, but my sister makes him edibles so he can get to sleep because he has trouble sleeping. Yeah, and this is something I did not know when I first played this game. The actual order is right there in that image. Because I have done this unsuccessfully a million times or looked up the answer. But the order is right there in the image.
It's very much it's like in the basement of Innsmouth Academy, except this time it's actually obvious. And now you lift the filter and it's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, it's mostly beautiful because we're now high.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, and the colors are nice and vivid too. But if your that is kind of not great design too. If your excuses were, I would not mind this if this game looked like this all the time. Because the colors are just popping.
Well, Egypt and Transylvania are a lot more colorful than New England. I don't know why New England is so drab.
It's really, I mean, I haven't exactly spent a ton of time up here, but look, this is New England turns red in the fall. But,
So, yeah, the rest of this mission is just beating this thing up. It takes a while. And occasionally you'll be attacked by waves of deep ones.
and it goes away, and now it's all gray again.
And now we're about to go to Blue Mountain and get our first glimpse of the military forces on the island. And the next video will be probably just that. And then either the Sasquatches or the Indian Trailer Park. Native American Trailer Park, rather, will probably take a bit. it'll probably be as long as Innsmouth Academy. There's about as many missions, and I'll also be putting up a video of the dungeon that's there, which is a Spirit Quest vision where you go back and witness the Darkness War between the Mayans, the Wabanaki, and their allies, the Norse.
There are injuries and our medic is down, requesting backup.
I really hope I catch it on, but sometimes they say, it's a bug hunt over the radio.
Good. And it looks like the video's over, so thank you, everybody.
Alright. Thank you.